Good evening and welcome to Modern Mystic Radio. You are listening to Ask One Radio, the world's #1 psychic radio network. Now, let me just introduce myself briefly. My name is Sarah. I work in a variety of different ways. I'm psychic, have been since childhood, and I've been working professionally as a psychic for 27 years now. And I do like to work with different tools. And I'm going to let you I'm going to give you a bit of a window into my world today. So I'm going to talk about how I work, how I experience my psychic energy, how I experience my psychic gift, to give you a little bit more insight into not only me, my journey, my story so far, but also into how a reading works, how a reading functions, because there's a lot more that goes into it than you first realise. You know, yes, I do use tools. So I've got some of my tools here. I'm just going to show you very quickly. I'm just holding up the Psy cards here. It's my favourite deck of all time. This is my first ever deck that I ever had. So this particular pack is 27 years old, and it's seen virtually every single reading that I've ever done in my life, which is, I have to say, thousands. You can find me on Psychic Today, which is a UK TV channel. Also, I have my own private practice in the UK as well. So I do this absolutely full time. I live and breathe it. I do nothing else apart from readings, really. I also teach, but readings, I have to say, is my #1 main line of work. Right, so let's go back to the beginning. When I first discovered my psychic ability, I was probably around 7 or 8, and how I used to experience it is what they would call, psychic sight, clairvoyance, being able to physically see spirit. Now, I used to be woken up every single night as a child and see, not hear or be able to communicate or anything like that, but I used to see spirit, hundreds of them, all different ones, one after the other, and they all used to come in and literally zoom past my field of vision, one after the other, sort of one in one side and then another one through the other side, and that's how I used to experience it. Obviously, I didn't know what to do at such a tender age. I didn't know, I didn't know whether it was, the nightmare or what have you, even though I was wide awake. And what I found is that even though I'd try and shut it off, I would, leave the light on. I'd get my parents to leave the hall light on so I wouldn't see these things, because it's always during the dark that I would see these images. Lo and behold, eventually, I had this for about a year, maybe 2 years, and then it dissipated, it disappeared. Now, during my teens, again, I would have various psychic experiences, and I became aware of one of my spiritual guides, and his name was Marcus, and he used to talk to me regularly, all sorts about all sorts of different things that were concerning me as a child, and really give me guidance going forwards. And this is where I started really getting into finding out a little bit more about the paranormal, psychic abilities, fascinated by the whole subject. And I used to do readings with normal playing cards, and that's my introduction really into delivering readings at just 13. So I used to do that for friends and family. Then when I was 17, I went to my first psychic fair, had my first psychic reading, and I loved it, absolutely fell in love with it, and asked the lady to teach me how to read the cards. Now, she was using this pack of cards, which she gave to me. Again, these are the Psy cards. And I was expecting weeks and weeks and weeks of tuition. And she just shuffled her cards and said to me, "You can already do it, just do me a reading." And that was that. Within a month of that, I was working at psychic fairs with her, with just probably that pack of cards and maybe one other And that was the start of my journey. And since then, since the age of 17, obviously I've been working on developing my skill. Most of this, I have to admit, has been taught by my guides to me. So I haven't attended any conferences, any classes, or anything like that. So I want to tell you a little bit about how I sense and feel psychic energy around me, what happens during a reading. Now, all of us, every single one of us, are psychic by nature. You know, we have that that intuition, that gut feeling. You know, you may walk into a room and then, I don't know, have a funny vibe about somebody. That's your psychic ability kicking in. And also you can liken it to, you know, a situation where, you know, people have, you know, have said that they have sensed danger and then something happens, or, you know, they dream of something and then, you know, lo and behold, a couple of days later, it actually appears in their life. This is all natural psychic awareness. Now, I've taken that psychic awareness and I've amplified it. So I'm taking what everybody has, you, everyone, every single one of you, and I've amplified it out. So when I receive my guidance, I get it through a variety of different forms. So I work within not just one chakra point. I don't just work with my third eye, which is up here. I work with all of them, all at the same time. So there's a lot going on. So when I first tune in to a person, when I'm starting to read them, I will open up my chakra system and then I will see what I kind of pick up. Now, it will come in for me in many different formats. So sometimes it will be a physical sensation. Sometimes it will be one of my own memories that slips in and, you know, it's applicable to that person. Sometimes it will be like I will see an image in my mind's eye and I go ahead and describe that. Now, when I start my reading, once I've tuned into that person, I receive almost like a dialogue of my own voice in my head. It's almost like the reading has started a couple of seconds before it actually has started, before I actually speak. And that will be my cue that everything is ready to go. Now, within a reading, the whole idea is for you to be getting to your best possible outcome. Okay, so that is my intention for each and every person that I see. So what I do is actually tune into my guides. Now, we all have spirit guides. They will help us on many different levels, and they work with me through, you know, via thought. Thought is the main form of energy that they work with. Like I said, they can also come in through physical sensations and all sorts of other different formats. Sometimes sound will come in as well. So what will happen in reading is I become your representative. Okay, so I will have a look at what's going on around you energetically, be able to assess that and link into your energy. And then what I will do is I will start asking questions in my mind to my guides to enable you to get the best possible outcome. So this is where it's absolutely 100% key to be able to ask the right question. So if you're sat at home and wondering, how do I develop? How do I, you know, develop to just sort of giving somebody, you know, the meanings of the cards? How do I, you know, bring that into a stronger format? And it's the questions that you ask your guides. So within a reading, I actually see this as being more a consultation. So I'll be communicating with my guides, who'll be communicating with your guides, and I'll be working on your behalf, asking the right questions, asking the questions that you want answered. That's the important element here, and that is what makes a really, really effective reading. Now, another form of psychic awareness is mediumship, and this is where I will get a loved one or somebody that's passed over come forward. Now that comes forward in a very, very different way. I've built up my level of communication with my guides over a number of years, so they know me, I know them inside out. So communication is actually relatively easy. But when we're talking to somebody that we don't know, a member of your family that's passed over, we kind of got to start from the beginning all over again. So the method of communication varies. It may very well be a strong image that they can transmit to me, or a feeling, or sometimes an emotion here as well, and that's how the mediumship actually kicks in. It works in a slightly different way. So psychics and mediums work very differently. What I also find here with mediumship is that once I do get that connection and I start delivering the message that is meant for that person, it's almost like I get an electrical impulse throughout me. I start to feel like buzzy, literally from head to toe. And that's when I know that I've got the link right. Okay, so today I'm going to be looking at 2 readings. I'll be taking 2 callers today, and I'm just going to wait for the first one to come through. Okay, and I think what's the name of the person? Okay, so we have got Alicia from Ohio. Hi, Alicia.
Hi.
Hi. Hello, how are you?
I'm good.
Okay, I'm going to do your reading. My name is Sarah. Right, do you have a question for me?
I just basically want to know, like, is it okay if I say 2 questions, or is it just 1?
Are you going to ask 2?
Okay, because one of them is, I was just wanting to know if my fiance will be back this year, and my kids and all that. That's basically what I want to know.
So your fiance, you want to know if he's coming back.
Yeah.
And you said something about your children.
Yeah. I want to know if I'm getting them back, and I'm wanting to know if my fiance is coming back from Louisiana.
Right, okay, thank you. I'm just going to deal out a few cards for you, and let's just see what I get with this. I'm just pulling out a few cards. I feel here over the last couple of years, it just feels like everything has been really stuck with you.
Yeah.
And it's like you cannot get anything, not even communication. You can't even get communication through correctly. It all seems to be sort of misinterpreted and all going, I want to say, completely wrong, and I feel very much, I feel like you've been really struggling with this, on a very, very deep emotional level, but it's kind of forced you to reflect, to go within, and to really look at things from a completely different perspective. And I feel like you've done that, but it's being able to convince other people that this is what's happened, and you are, I want to say you are in fact, enlightened, different. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. And also I'm just sort of picking up here that you've gone through you've had a lot of challenges that I feel, not everybody has to kind of go through. So life has been really, really tough for you. Okay. Now just sort of tuning into the energy of your partner. Let's just see what I get. I'm going to pull a few more cards because I feel like they will be back, you see. And I feel very much, yes, they need a little bit convincing, and I feel like I've got a conversation coming up with them. I feel like what I'm being shown here is a bridge being built here between the two of you, where I feel like you're going to be able to reach a compromise and discuss things in a far more easier fashion. And there is open this time. That's what I like about this. I feel that I feel like it will be this year. I want to look between sort of April and June, July time. I feel like that is a real hot spot here for you, where you're going to find that everything that has been pending or difficult or challenging is starting to speed up here for you, and is also starting to drop back into place. Like I said, it feels as though you have been placed in one form or another, in a very solitary position, which obviously, has not been very comfortable for you, wouldn't be comfortable for anyone, but you have had a real sense of, I feel like an awakening kind of going on here, realization of just how great you can be. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I feel that I want to say this, I feel like it's the partner that kind of comes back first. Your fiance comes back first, but I'm also seeing a real positive element around the children as well. So I feel like that's going to be falling into place too. I feel like I'm getting more the summer months with this. July, August, September is where I feel like I've got that falling back into place. I feel like you will be successful in getting everything back. I don't feel like it's lost for good. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. I do actually feel your relationship is a soul-based one, and I feel like you have a very, very, very deep connection to each other. So I want to say on a soul level, you have a very deep connection. That has plus points, it has minus points. The minus points here is I feel like you've gone through a soulmate crisis with your relationship, where you've now had to experience that separation, but I feel like it will be coming back sooner rather than later. That's what I'm being told here, sooner rather than later. So this position that you feel like you're in, that you feel like you're stuck in, is no longer going to be stuck for you. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I just feel lost, and the kids were taken from me over something dumb, and I just feel like I've had a nervous breakdown.
Yeah.
It sucks.
The thing is, I feel that whatever needed to happen from this experience, like I said, that awakening moment, I feel has actually occurred here. And you're in transition at the moment. So even though you're feeling stuck and you're feeling lost, it's a temporary experience. It's a temporary feeling. It's not a permanent feeling. You're not going to feel like this for the next, year or however many months. This is beginning to dissipate, within the coming sort of weeks and months here in this year. So I feel everything will start to actually fall back into place here for you. But like I said, it feels like you needed that time alone to really work out what it is that you want and what went wrong as well. Does that make sense? It's like you needed to get your head around everything. Everything was a bit of a blur, if that makes sense. Yeah.
It does.
Okay. Right. So thank you very much for coming through to me.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, and you have a lovely evening. Okay, so I think we have another caller that's coming through. And I think this is Abby from in Philadelphia. Hello, Abby.
Oh, Patty. It's Patty.
Oh, hi, Patty. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. You're through to Sarah on Modern Mystic. Do you have a question for me?
Yes, I do. I guess the best way to explain it is to start from the beginning. On Christmas Eve, my 2-year-old granddaughter, my dad passed away in 2007, so obviously, he never met her. She was standing there, and she was saying, "Hi, Grandpa," and waving to him and laughing. That was fine. 2 days later, up until now, all of a sudden she's seeing something, and it's scaring her. She's backing up, saying, "No, no, bad, no, no." And we cannot figure out for the life of us what it is that's scaring this poor child.
Okay. Does this happen at any point? Is it a specific time of the day that this happens?
Day or night. There's no set time. It could happen during the day. It can happen at night. There's no set time.
Okay. So it's not around sleep?
No, but, it has been, I want to say, maybe more at night, but not all the time at night. Like some of it is during the day.
Okay. Right, because kind of what I feel here when I was listening to you describe the situation is that I feel that your granddaughter is exceptionally psychic, and how can I put it? Being like that, she's not in control of what actually she's, how can I put it? Which level that she's kind of working at. So I feel very much that she is being looked after. Your father. It was your father, wasn't it, that passed away?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I feel like she, that experience, that conversation that she was having with him was very, very real. And I feel like he is looking out for her. But what I also feel is that she's kind of accidentally tapping into, what's called the astral realm. And, this is a realm that we all kind of, it's if you like, it's the next dimension onwards from the third dimension that we're in now. And this is, we all enter it into our dream world. It's not like she's accessing something that she shouldn't be. But I feel like she's doing that in a very clairvoyant fashion, if that makes sense. Even to the point where she can access, if you like, the dream world a little bit in her waking state. Okay. So this is kind of what I feel she is currently going through. I also feel I want to say that I feel like she's safe. I don't feel like she's going to come to any harm, but obviously this is distressing to her, isn't it?
Right.
And I feel that, number one, I feel like this is going to be a passing phase. So I feel like she's going to be able to to navigate her way around it. No harm is going to come to her. I want to make that absolutely 100% clear.
Good. That's what I wanted to know.
Yeah. And I feel here that it's almost like what I want to say. One thing that she can do for herself is if you tell her to imagine herself floating upwards, okay, when this happens. Because what that will do is raise her vibration. So she comes out of the astral realm and goes on to a higher one where we've got much better energy and better people or spirits, as it were there. I think she is genuinely seeing spirit.
Oh, I believe that. I really do. I believe she does. I know I see things, so I think she may have gotten it from me.
It gets stronger. It gets stronger as it goes through the generations. Mm. So chances are she has kind of inherited that gift from you. She may, I think, just tuning into her energy, I feel like she's going to do a lot of good in the world in the future. And that's going to be down to her very empathic kind of nature. Okay. I do feel that you don't need to worry about her. I feel like she's well looked after. I feel like your father is looking out for her as well. But I also feel here that she can handle these spirits, by saying no, bad, go. I feel like they are going, or they will go.
Right.
But they seem to be attracted to her very high energy, her light energy, and that's what I feel here. It's like moths to a flame. Do you know what I mean? And I feel like she will be safe. But like I said, remember to tell her to raise her. Feel like she's floating upwards, like she's going through the clouds, floating upwards. And I feel like that will help her to eliminate and get rid of these things if she doesn't like them.
Okay. All right. Good.
Okay.
Good, because it's been scaring us, like we didn't know what was going on, and she would, just start. She actually backed up one time. Thank God my grandson caught her because she almost went down a flight of stairs backwards, backing away from whatever it was.
Yeah, I think she will be protected on every level. Now, I believe my show is nearly coming to a close, so I'm going to thank you very much for sending in or bringing in that lovely question, a very, very deep question as well.
All right, I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Take care. And that is me done. That's how quick it is. I can't believe this show has gone so quickly already. So if you want to get hold of me, my website is modern-mystic.co.uk. You can also find me on Psychic TV, Psychic Today in the UK, and also on Facebook and Twitter, Modern Mystic, or even Mystic Sarah, known as Mystic Sarah as well. So I'm going to wish you a very, very pleasant evening, and wish you a fabulous week ahead, and I'll catch you the same time next week. Bye for now.